In this, I'm going to explain the conversion of epsilon NFA to NFA. In the last lecture, we have seen conversion of NFA to DFA. Today, we'll see the conversion of epsilon NFA to NFA. In this epsilon NFA, the transitions will take place with the epsilon movement. That means whenever the input has been given as epsilon, that means without any input also, the state transition will change. This is what the epsilon NFA is. If such epsilon NFA is being given, then it is completely undeterministic and non-deterministic, and also the input for what state we'll get is also unpredictable. Hence, we are going to convert this epsilon NFA to NFA so that we can eliminate the epsilon productions or epsilon inputs. Then NFA can be converted into DFA. First of all, whenever any epsilon NFA has been given, the step 1 is for each state in the epsilon NFA, find the epsilon closure. So for each state, check epsilon closure with respect to the input and transition state, that is epsilon closure. So the table to be drawn like this: state, epsilon closure, input, and for every input, whatever the resultant state, for every resultant state, what is the epsilon closure? That means, for example, the state is Q0. So on Q0, what is the epsilon closure? Whatever the set you will get, for each state in the epsilon closure, upon the given input, what is the resultant output? And on this output, what is the resultant epsilon closure for that? So we need to draw this table for every state and for every input. So while drawing this, we should also fill the transition table. That is, in general, we'll write for the DFA and NFA like this: what is the initial state upon input, where this particular transition is going on, and this is the inputs and these are the states, and what is the initial state and what is the final state. Here arrow mark represents the initial state and star represents the final state. Now perform the step 1. So in general, in order to do this step 1, so we need to identify the epsilon closure. So epsilon closure is nothing but the same state and all the states that can be reached from a particular state by seeing the epsilon symbol. So if I ask you what is the epsilon closure of Q0, so the epsilon closure of Q0 is the same state, that is Q0, and upon epsilon to where what are the states we can visit. So if you look at the epsilon closure of Q0 is the same state, comma, and upon epsilon, okay, if you see the epsilon upon Q0, if you see this epsilon, then it is going to Q1 state, and from the Q1 upon epsilon it is going to Q2 state. So the epsilon closure of Q0 is Q0, Q1 and Q2. So this is what the epsilon closure. Now the state, first we'll state the starting state. The starting state Q0, the epsilon closure of Q0 is Q0, Q1 and Q2. Now for each state in the epsilon closure, upon input 0, so we have the input as 0 where it is going on. So upon Q0, by giving the input 0, it is again going into the Q0 state. Upon Q1, if you provide 0 as the input, where it is going. However, upon Q1, we don't have any 0 input. So it is null or empty set. While coming to the Q2, on Q2, if you provide 0, it is remaining in the Q2 state. So provide upon Q2, if you provide the input 0, then it is again ending into the Q2 state. Now we have got the set Q0, Q2. Now for every output state upon the input of the observed epsilon closure, what is the closure of again Q0? So upon what is the epsilon closure of the output state? That is Q0 epsilon closure is the same state, and with epsilon what are the states you are visiting? Q1 and Q2. So Q0, Q1, Q2. Since the second one is a null set, you don't have any epsilon closure for that. While coming to the Q2, upon Q2, epsilon closure means the same state and there is no other epsilon transitions from here. So the resultant set is Q2 itself. So thereby the resultant epsilon closure of Q0 upon the given input, you will get the Q0, Q1, Q2. So on Q0, for the input 0, we got the resultant set as Q0, Q1, Q2. Like that, we need to do for the input 1. So on Q0, upon input 1, so first of all, first thing you are supposed to calculate is on the input state, what is the epsilon closure of the input state? The epsilon closure of the input state Q0 is Q1, Q0, Q1 and Q2, because epsilon closure of the same state is itself, and what are the other states you can visit by inputting the epsilon. So hence, so Q0, epsilon closure of Q0 is Q0, Q1, Q2, and now for every state in the epsilon closure, pass the input 1. So Q0 on 1, anyhow Q0 on 1 is not available, so hence we'll get the set as empty set. Next, Q1 upon 1. So Q1 on 1, it is resulting into Q1 state. So Q1 on 1, we are resulting into Q1 state. Q2 on 1 is resulting into Q2 state. So that is the reason Q2 on 1 is resulting into Q2 state. Now whatever the output states are there, for this again you find the epsilon closure. So epsilon closure of the null set is null. Epsilon closure of Q1, we already know that what is the epsilon closure of Q1? The same state, and what are the other states you will visit if you pass epsilon as the input? So Q1, Q2. So here Q1, Q2. Next Q2, epsilon closure of Q2 is the same state, and since there is no epsilon transitions afterwards, so there is no further states to visit. So hence the epsilon closure of Q2 is Q2 itself. Now Q1, Q2 and Q2. So here Q2 is common and Q1 is there, so it is a union we are supposed to take. So Q0 upon 1 will get the state as Q1, Q2. Like that, we need to go for Q1 on 0. So when Q1 on 0 means Q1, epsilon closure of Q1. Epsilon closure of Q1 is Q1, Q2. Now for every state in epsilon closure, if you pass, if you give the input as 0 to where it is going, we have to verify. So on Q1, there is no 0 input possible, so hence the set is empty set. On Q2, we can provide the input as 0. So when we give the input as 0, then we are getting the state, resultant state as Q2. Now on this input, again we need to apply the epsilon closure. So here this is the empty set. On empty set, we cannot get the epsilon closure. Hence it is null. Now on Q2, we need to again calculate the epsilon closure. epsilon closure of Q2 is the same state, again union and any other epsilon transition states. So here there is no other epsilon transition state going out from the Q2. So hence the resultant is Q2 itself. So here Q2 itself. So Q1 upon 0 is going to Q2. Next, Q1 on 1, the same thing again. Now Q1 on 1. So first thing is you need to calculate the epsilon closure. So Q1 epsilon closure is Q1 Q2. Next thing is, for every state in the epsilon closure, what is the resultant state if you pass the input as 1? So upon Q1, from the diagram we can see if you supply the input as 1, then it is going into Q1 itself. On Q2, if you provide input as 1, it is resulting into Q2 itself. So Q1, Q2 are the resultant states. Now we need to find the closure of Q1 and Q2. Anyhow, we have already calculated the closure of Q1 and Q2. The closure of Q1 is Q1, Q2. Closure of Q2 is Q2 itself. Now we need to take the union of this. So Q1, Q2, union Q2, which results into again Q1, Q2. So Q1 on 1, we are going to Q1, Q2. Next we will move on to the final state, which is Q2. So Q2 closure is Q2 itself. Q2 on 0, it is going into Q2 itself. Again, closure of Q2 is Q2. Q2 closure is Q2. Q2 on 1, it is resulting into Q2 state itself. And epsilon closure of Q2 is Q2 itself. So that is the reason Q2 on 0 is going to Q2. Q2 on 1 going to Q2. Now we have filled the transition table with the procedure that was mentioned here. Once the transition table has been drawn, in the transition table, if any set consists of the final state, here what is the final state? Q2 is the final state. In transition table, if any set consists of the final state, then the corresponding state should be considered as final state. So here Q0, in this Q0, Q1, Q2, so Q2 is the final state, so this can be considered as the final state. And 1 here, this is also having Q2, so both the inputs, okay, the resultant sets that we will get with the both inputs are having Q2 as the state, so hence Q0 can be declared as the final state. The same way Q1, for the input 0 going to Q2, and for input 1 going to Q1, Q2, and this particular set is also having the final state, so Q1 can be declared as the final state. And Q2 upon Q2 upon 0 going to Q2, which itself is the final state, and 1 which is also itself is the final state. So now we got Q0, Q1, Q2 are the final states. So with these final states, now we'll draw the transition diagram. So Q0, so Q0 on 0 is going into Q0, Q1 and Q2. So Q0 on 0 is going to Q0, Q1 and Q2, right? So this is possible because this is NFA, not epsilon NFA. In this you will not find any epsilon transition. You will find only the transition with the proper inputs. So here the inputs are 0 and 1. We all know that for a given input, we may also move from one state to multiple states. That is, there are multiple possible states to result into for the given input, which is the property of NFA. Hence, this is acceptable. So Q0 to Q0 on 0 is going to Q0 and also going to Q1 and also going to Q2. Next one is Q0 on 1 is going to Q1 and Q2. So Q0 on 1 is going to Q1 and Q2. So upon giving 0 and 1 as the inputs, it is going to Q1. So that means from Q0, either you supply 0 or input as 1, it is resulting into state Q1. And at the same time, on Q naught, if you supply input as 0 or input as 1, it is resulting into the state Q2. Next, on Q1, if you supply 0, then it is going to Q2. And also on Q1, if you supply input as 1, it is going to Q1 as well as Q2. So from Q1, if you supply 1, so it is going to Q1 state itself. And from Q1, if you supply 1 input as 1, then it is going into Q2 state. On Q2, if you supply 0 and 1, both resulting into the Q2 state itself. So if you supply 0 and 1, it is resulting into the Q2 state. So that is the final NFA that we will get after removing the epsilon transitions from epsilon NFA. So this is what the conversion of epsilon NFA to DFA.